Are you ready for some real football?
Warpaint TV, after Game 1, season opening loss by the Kansas City Chiefs 40-24 to the Atlanta Falcons. Nick Athan, Dave Barr with you. Nick, we knew it was going to be a struggle coming in defensively with all of the guys that were injured coming into this one. Atlanta scored on just about every possession today, come away with a Game 1 win.
Yeah, I mean, they played lights out. I mean, offensively, they just couldn't be stopped. The Chiefs had no answers defensively. They could not be aggressive with their pass rush because they didn't really have anybody outside of Justin Houston to go after the quarterback, and he spent half his day in pass coverage. So really disappointing. I really thought the Chiefs defense would play a little bit better. I knew Brandon Flowers was out. We obviously know the suspension to Tom Bahali, two key cogs of this defense. They better come back next week against Buffalo with their heads square on and their attitudes differently, because defensively speaking, the Chiefs aren't as bad as they played today.
Well, here's the thing. Because the secondary was so thin, and let's be honest too, questionable talent-wise, when you get past that first four,
right?
They couldn't send anybody on the blitz today. I mean, there was no way you could leave those guys any further exposed than they already were. And the fact of the matter is, Kansas City could not get pressure with a 3 or 4 man rush today.
Well, it didn't help that Stanford Route didn't have a very good game.
Jacques
Reese. Well, Jacques Reese is a given. I mean, to go against those type of wide receivers is just not something he can do. There's a reason he hasn't been in the NFL for the last couple of seasons. That's a problem. They got to have Brandon Flowers back. But Javier Arenas, like I said, very disappointing. Stanford Route, very disappointing. I know that they had to play soft coverage, but at some point you just have to throw caution in the wind and be more aggressive defensively. That's what disappointed me most about the game. In the second half, the Falcons made the adjustments defensively. The Chiefs did not. They tried to do the same thing over again. That never works in the National Football League. You have to change from the first half to the second half. If something's going wrong, you've got to fix it. The Falcons did it. The Chiefs didn't.
Romeo Crennel post-game said that he was very satisfied with the Chiefs, particularly offensively, the way they played in the first half. Then the suck-up missed field goal, first drive, second half, tide totally turning this football game. At that point, Chiefs offensively started pressing, trying to make plays, understanding they had to go score for score with Atlanta, just couldn't do it. A lot to ask.
They ran out of patience, and for the people that were booing Matt Castle, totally unfair, because they were in a position, quite honestly, where they knew they had to score virtually every possession, and even then it probably wasn't going to be enough to defeat the Atlanta Falcons at home on Sunday. So, Castle struggled a little bit in the second half. He made some mistakes, tip ball, sack, fumble, all these things mount up and build up, and they stopped the rushing attack. They didn't have any fire on offense after that missed field goal. That was the biggest key. I think that was the biggest play in the entire game. Whether it was enough to catapult the Chiefs into a victory remains to be seen. We don't know, but that was a huge play for this football team.
A lot of work to do in the next week. A road trip, week 2 to Buffalo. Next 2 actually on the road. At Buffalo, at New Orleans. 2 teams that kind of struggled here in week 1, but a lot of work to do. How close is Flowers really to coming back? Is Kendrick Lewis? How long is he out? That's a big part of that secondary. Tom Bahali will be back. Derek Johnson told me he thought that they were a step slow on defense today, and I think that's pretty accurate. They've got a lot of work to do in the next week.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, Flowers has got to get back on the practice field. He has to play this weekend. Tom Bahali, like I said, he's got to be a man possessed the next 15 games. And he was suspended. It really hurt this football team. If they had Tom Bahali today, outside of missing Brandon Flowers, I think he would have gotten a couple of sacks, maybe a couple of game-changing situations. They really missed him. Another guy that was missing for me, Alan Bailey. Where was he? Why wasn't he on the field? He's probably their best pass rusher at the defensive end position, and he's on the bench. So there's some adjustments they're going to have to make, because obviously the Tyson Jackson-Glenn Dorsey experiment still is not working. Good against the run, but nothing against the pass.
Lots of react coming at warpaintillustrated.com. You can also find a lot of stuff on Twitter as well, at Chiefs Insider for Nick, at Dave A. Barr for myself. Lots of stuff out there, plus videos, one-on-ones with Steve Breston, Derek Johnson, and Eric Berry coming up on warpaintillustrated.com and on Facebook at Warpaint Illustrated as well. For Nick, I'm Dave. Thanks for coming along on this edition of a Game 1 Warpaint TV.
Don't miss another edition of Warpaint Illustrated, the magazine. To get your subscription today, call 888-979-0979. That's 888-979-0979, or check out warpaintillustrated.com.